This is Chris Wooten with Wooten Injury Law in Huntsville, Alabama. Today we're going to talk about how does jury selection work. This is something that people that actually don't work in the law maybe hear about all the time, especially if there are big trials in the news or if you're watching a movie or a TV show that deals with legal matters. They always talk about jury selection, and it's one of the most important parts of the trial process. But it's important to talk about how it actually works. The idea behind jury selection is you want to pick a jury that is fair for the case at hand. Everybody in every aspect of their lives have certain biases that they've got based upon their experience and their background. That's not a bad thing. For instance, somebody that's a diehard Alabama fan might not be the best person to sit on a case involving Auburn's football team. So it always depends. And the way jury selection works is the attorneys on both sides, and sometimes the judge, asks questions of the potential jurors in order to find out who they are, where they're from, and what experiences they may have that might make them not the best people to hear a particular case. One of the important things to keep in mind about jury selection, however, is that you don't actually pick the people you want on the jury. That's why sometimes they call it striking a jury, because the way it actually works is both sides actually, based upon the questions that the attorneys have asked the jurors and based upon the answers the jurors have given, if they think a juror might have a bias against their side in the case, they strike that juror. That means that they tell the judge they don't want this particular juror to serve on the case, and then that individual person is excused from the jury. So a lot of times the way jury selection works is you'll have a jury pool of maybe 30 to 40 people who come in and who are asked various questions about the case and about their backgrounds. And then after all of the questions are asked, both sides sit down with the judge, and each side has a certain number of strikes in order to winnow that jury pool down to the 12 people and perhaps an alternate or two who will actually sit on the case. Now, in a really big, high-profile case that involves famous people, or maybe a case that is very important, like a murder trial or something like that, there may be more alternates, and the jury selection and the jury pool may be larger. And a more detailed process. But generally speaking, that's how it works. Both sides strike the jurors that they think could be biased against their side in order to try and get a jury that can be fair in the case at hand. If you're in a situation where you're contemplating maybe needing to have a jury struck in a case that you're on, hopefully you've already got an attorney. But if not, you want to make sure and talk to an attorney about how that process works.